Hello, you are very welcome to the Overlap Rugby podcast. This is going to be our final instalment of this great discussion, great special we had with NGJ Rugby. Again, links to his channel in the description below. Can't recommend it highly enough. Check it out for obviously the two of the videos that have already been up have been on his channel as well. This is the final instalment of this special. Hopefully not the last, but big question: who's the greatest team ever? Ooh.
So this is our last big question, and it's possibly the most important question, but who's the greatest team ever? And by that we mean, not necessarily a one season thing, but over a few seasons, which team was the best team of all time? Was it sort of the All Blacks team that won the World Cup in 2015? Is it the great Lions team of 74? There's been lots of great teams over the years, but we're each going to make a case now for one team to be the greatest team of all time.
Who are we going to start with? Where are we going to start?
I'll go.
All right. Darragh's going to take
it. So this is kind of it's a left field shout, but this team is as credentialed as they come, and it is the Springboks team of 2009.
Ooh, okay.
So this is the team that beat the All Blacks 3 times. Swept the All Blacks 3-0 in a test series, won the Tri-Nations, won the Lions tour against one of the best Lions teams that's ever been put together by Ian McGeechan in one of the, to this day, one of the highest quality, if not the highest quality test series of any kind I've ever seen.
Yeah,
amazing. My dad went and he didn't take me, the bastard.
Oh, sticking that's got to still stick.
And he's like, "Oh, it was the best. It was the best time of my life."
I know it was the best.
Stop telling me that it was the best. I know.
But this team was just incredible, and they were almost on another level in pro rugby in terms of raw physicality that anybody had seen, and are the only team to this day that I've seen just make the All Blacks submit. Yeah. And like 3 tests in a row, the All Blacks just submitted to their physicality. Victor Matfield, Baki Sporta, Skalk Berger, young Pierre Spies was such a player. Forey Dupree, one of the great scrum halves of all time.
Stain in
and
there as well.
Absolute killers on the wings in Brian Habana and JP Peterson.
Yeah.
And a kicker in Franz Stain, who at the time was just kicking anything inside 60 metres was just 3 points, 3 points,
Yes.
3 points. And it was just no playing them.
Yeah.
And everybody found that. Nobody could cope. And swept the Tri-Nations, won the Lions tour.
Won the World Cup.
Well, they were world champions at the time.
Yeah.
It was that he. I remember hearing John. I don't know how you say his name. Smith, their captain.
John Smith.
Yes. Yeah.
After the 2007 World Cup, he said to the guys like, "We finished this. Keep this team together till 2009, the Lions tour, and then we'll break off." And it's sort of like, you can see that team sort of tailed off after that Lions tour, but that core, like, I'm not going to go over to you straight away, but I love that. I love that.
And
that
Jacques Ferry's try in the corner, which was heartbreaking from a Lions point of view.
Oh, man.
What a finish, and what a clutch team as well to do that, to pull off the comeback and win the test series in that second test was something very, very special.
Phenomenal for sure.
I love Ronan O'Gara now, but I hate
at the time, right there with you.
We weren't his biggest fans in that week either.
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
I know.
What are you doing? Why?
And then his non-tackle, he was guilty of a lot of non-tackles, but his non-tackle for the try followed on Jack Free, followed by the calamitous
10-point
Harry Carey suicide play. So we were just like, I don't know what's going on.
It's the way they subbed Jones, who was playing really well as well.
Well, in theory, he's a great guy to close out a game, but he was not that.
He's a very clutch guy. It's just he had like a weird. I can't imagine what it would be like staying on that tour, being Ronan O'Gara after that second test. Because it's literally
everyone's just looking at you.
We don't like to shit on people, but like that was his fault. Like
it was a bad.
Everyone played the game.
Like he's been the first one to say it. He's an open admission that it's not his finest hour by any stretch. In fact, it's probably the worst thing he's done on the pitch, and he's done some tremendous. Like he's a phenomenal player and has a great legacy. But,
he's amazing. He's one of the most honest rugby players ever as well. In terms of that documentary they did, I don't know who did it, but it's one of the best ones I've seen in terms of no one's honest in rugby when they talk about rivalries with teammates and everything's sort of like there's not much truth that goes on in sort of interviews, and stuff, but that's one of the most raw things of like this. He's an inspirational person to me in terms of he was good at certain things and he never deviated from that. He was like, I'm not the best tackler, but I'm one of the best game managers of all time. And when it comes down to it, I will drop the goals, I will kick the goals, and that's and it's sort of
it's to his eternal credit.
Yeah, and that Sexton emergence and just seeing his honest opinion on that, it was just like fascinating. Like,
I love that whole rivalry was extraordinary. It was such a mad time in Irish rugby because the guys seemed to hate each other, and then it was just they were not too far apart in terms of quality, and every time one of them was playing, the camera was on the other one.
That was
so mad.
It was soap opera dramatics.
How can you be a team when this is what's going on? It was sort of a mad era. Yeah.
And neither of them pulls their punches with their words. Actually, Sexton's quite an honest guy as well.
Oh, no, they both they're blunt to evolve sometimes. But
I imagine what it's like being Sexton's wife a lot of the time. Like just like him just walking.
I can't imagine it.
You call these scrambled eggs? Do better. Work rate. Standards. Lift them.
I've actually bumped into them a few times in a working capacity a few years ago. Him and his family, and he seems to be a very different man outside off the pitch. He's a very chill, very much family guy.
The Tom Brady thing. Psycho on the pitch, like that nerdy dad off it.
Kind of seems that way for sure. But we digress a bit. I'm gonna obviously 09. It's the Springboks. Probably 07 to 09.
Because they weren't a great side in 08. So actually, it's just purely that year. Peter de Villiers' 2009 side. Won the Leinster and the Tri Nations. That's what I'm going for.
Fair enough. Do you want to pitch next, or shall
What's it? Actually, you go, and then I'll go.
Well, I was torn a little. Obviously, there's been some great that great Lions side of that. You think I enjoyed that team, but I am going to go with probably a standard enough shout, but the All Blacks team from the one that won the World Cup in 2015, but also pretty much from 2013 through 2015.
2013 was their unbeaten year.
Yeah, that was the unbeaten year where it broke our hearts, unfortunately. So it's
that try is one of the most unbelievable things.
Still in our memory.
I was at that game. I was right in front of where Crotty scored it.
What?
Yes.
That's history. You were there for history.
It was like if you found him on camera, it'd be like that Simpsons moment. It's like you can see the exact moment where his heart breaks. And there, try.
It was the loudest I've ever heard in any stadium when Rob Kearney scored the try to make it 19. Which was also right in front of us.
Yeah.
And then it was the quietest and most heartbreaking moment. We were all standing up going, go on. And then in unison, we all just sat down,
slumped back in defeat. But like as much as they're not my favorite team for things like that, they are, to my mind, the greatest team of all time. I've never seen the like of them, and I think you're talking about the Japanese try that changed the game, and it's dead right. But like we've seen in club rugby, we've seen in European rugby going to that 2015 World Cup, that we were all a bit too narrow. We were all convinced, we were believing our own hype on defence. You won't be able to play that attacking loose rugby against big, tight Northern Hemisphere defences, and the All Blacks shut that right down by just playing some expansive, beautiful, try-seeking rugby that has filtered into the whole game. Now you see the European club game is modelled on the image that team has put forward in the international stage, because they are, like, the rugby's a great top-down game, like international filters right the way down. And that All Blacks team just redefined what it was to be great and indomitable, and they had such a confidence in their own skill set that I've never seen before, where they would be backs to the wall, they would be down,
and always get themselves out of jail.
Just managed to dig it out. They broke Wallabies' hearts in Bledisloe Test. They broke our hearts several times. The Springboks suffered their wrath as well. England as well. Like, everyone has their own memories of that team just ripping the heart out of your chest. But more often than not, it wasn't a tight game. More often than not, you would go in thinking, well, we need to adjust our game plan. We need to be scoring 3 or 4 tries to even have a hope here. And if we do anything shy of that, they were just going to blow us away. And sure enough, we know there's going to be some point in the game where they're going to score 3 tries in 5 minutes. And that's just the truth of it.
They were a great side.
So like, as far as the greatest side, I think they have fallen off, which is obviously well documented since. They've lost a few of those great players. Your McCaw's retired. Kaino's now in France. Victor Vito's no more. Carter's not playing anymore. Nonu, Smith, all of those great players. I think, to my mind, they are the best team to ever play the game. I haven't seen the game played to the level that they managed to produce. They were just phenomenal. I've not seen it the like before or since.
I've agreed with both of what you're saying. I'm literally like, when you're talking about them, like, they were so much better than everyone at 2015. Like it was just like,
And I had like you were saying that Sonny Bill Williams walks into any other team, but he was off the bench for the start of that team. And like in the final, Bowden Barrett was off the bench to score a glossy finishing try. And it's what team is bringing Bowden Barrett off the bench? What's going on here?
What's it? My one counterpoint is my team against your All Blacks team is when you talk about that squad depth, the team that I think is the greatest of all time is the 2011 All Blacks. And I know that's a weird sort of choice, but I believe it's the greatest squad ever assembled and everyone was in their prime. 2015, it was sort of the thing 2015 was sort of like, it was the end of it. It was sort of like, everyone sort of like, international rugby, that's it for us. Like, we've given everything to play at this level. That's the end of it. Whereas 2011, so many things went wrong for them in terms of that tournament. It was like Carter got injured. And you saw the depth of their team, and like they had the audacity. And this is my main thing about how good their squad was. They left out Sivi Vatu, who was playing amazingly, and they left out the best all-round winger ever, Joe Rokothoko, as well, who was playing amazing. And they still had the best wingers in the tournament, with Kahui moving to left wing, and the best version of Corey Jane we ever saw.
We've ever seen, phenomenal.
It's just like.
Yeah, they were a beautiful side,
truly beautiful side. My one caveat would be Thierry Dusautoir probably says no.
I think Thierry Dusautoir might be the best 7 ever. He might be better than Laporte, so it's like
you could argue that if it wasn't for Craig Joubert, that it could have gone a different way for them in that final, though.
Yeah,
and that was the biggest game, and they did kind of bottle it, didn't they? Like
they did.
They were a better team than France, but they were so nervous.
That was that era where everyone's like, All Blacks can't do it at World Cups. They'll try.
Exactly.
And that had been the story. Like that. Actually, the best squad ever is the 2007 All Black squad. That should have blitzed that
was
World
an amazing
Cup.
squad.
That was,
and they
they
should have done better.
They left out Carlos Spencer, and they had so many. Like Nick Evans was like their third choice fly half. I got coached by Nick Evans, and he's like the nicest guy.
No way. We are huge fans of Nick Evans. He's phenomenal.
And he's still got it as well. He'd like fill in at training and stuff, and like if you need a number. But like you had that guy, like Harlequin's best. I think Harlequin's best player ever.
Probably,
Like, and he was third choice. Actually, he told a funny story about why he left New Zealand. And apparently they went to him. He was like, "Oh, what are my chances of getting a team?" And he was like, "They were like, you're never gonna start ahead of Dan Carter." And our joke in our team was, "Fuck Dan Carter!" Like, everyone at the back of us. Fuck Dan Carter.
Brilliant.
He was phenomenal. But you're right to say that he wasn't getting a sniff, and he was so good. Like comes to Europe and is indomitable for that. Like galvanized that Quinn side into a bloody good side.
Proper old school 10 as well. He had his shorts tucked up to his belly button and like tucked in his shirt and just like
clutch player as well.
But really clutch player. That 2011 team, just like everyone was on form coming into that tournament, and they had. In the documentary, they talk about how they acquired the depth from. They didn't actually. The reason they don't have as many accolades as the 2015 team is they lost to Bledisloe because they played their third team basically in terms of players in key positions. Like we all remember, like Thompson getting fended by Samo.
And Samo, one of the great tries.
What a try! What annoyed me though, there were so many fans doing blackface with afros, and everyone's like, "Look at these guys!"
You have to double take. It's like, when was this 2011?
Australians and New Zealanders don't give a fuck. It's a double-edged sword. I like it. There's some things they're very liberal with the use of the N word as well, but that's another thing.
But no comment.
Save the brand. Don't say anything. But that 2011 team, they had such depth, and everyone in every position, 3 levels deep, was amazing. And it was sort of spurred on from that 2007 disappointment. And it's sort of like that team, even though the pressure was huge, home World Cup, they sort of froze a little bit, but still, they won the game. I'll agree that France game. I thought France should have won that. It should have been the second Northern Hemisphere World Cup. But it wasn't to be. But I still think 2011.
It's a fair submission, and that performance against Australia in the World Cup semi-final was one of the great performances. They were a brilliant side.
They were,
But I would just add that the caveat is on the clutch day, they really did choke, and they got out of jail big time.
They did. Whereas
I'm sticking to my guns anyway. I'm sticking to the box.
I think I'm out of this debate. I think it's between you two in terms of who's better, because I think that that 2019, they had, when people talk about Habana and JP Peterson as great wingers, JP Peterson sort of came off slightly, but that was JP Peterson when JP Peterson's name
that was the JP Peterson.
Yeah, that's the if it was a game, it was like, oh, I'd like 2009 JP Peterson, please.
Yeah, and exactly, and that was the team. They had all the tools, and they would beat you like a classic Springbok team, but just at their very best. They would outmuscle you, kick you into death, and then if it became an offensive shootout, they had the weapons. to
Habana would score a try to break your heart.
Yeah. So I would say, on balance, it's really a match between the physicality of that Box team and the next level offense of
the All Blacks
of your All Blacks
2015.
team. Yeah. And I think the only fair thing to do is to give Noah the decisive vote.
Yeah, okay, you call it then, because we're going to fight.
I love you guys. It's hard because that All Blacks team. I know I talked about them being at the end of the rugby. It was sort of like, there was no panic. It was literally
that they had.
It was like Dan Carter was in cruise control, one of the best World Cups by any flight half ever. That got Nonu just being focused, which makes when he's focused, he is the GOAT.
One of my favourite tries of all time, which you didn't even mention, is his try in that final where Sonny Bill offloaded around the thing, and then Nonu streaking into the corner with that vicious
beats
side.
Curtly Beale, who's like, I know he's not the best defender, but in terms of he made Curtly Beale fall over. Like if it was touch rugby, he still would have scored. Like it was one of the
beautiful try.
Oh, this is tough.
It's a tough call. They're two bloody good sides.
Yeah.
Lions tour's a big deal, isn't it? Because it's like, I was about to say, but All Blacks won a World Cup. I was like, no, Lions tour only happens every 12 years.
Lions tour
that
and
country,
Tri-Nations, and even more rare, sweeping the All Blacks 3-0 in a Test series.
Yeah.
When I recently watched that Lions Test series, and I didn't realize Ruan Pienaar was at 10 for most of it.
Yeah.
And
he was
and Franz Steyn taking kicks.
I'm struggling. I'm gonna. I think it's South Africa.
He got the win. Victory.
Yeah.
Victory, Matthew.
I'm sure the comments are just going to be like, no! All the pissed off Kiwis just
Let's just hope there's no Kiwis watching.
Yeah,
I don't think we've given them their due.
No, probably have overall.
Actually, to be fair to you Kiwis, you have had at least 2 out of 3 options in everything we've debated.
For sure.
The respect is there for you.
Definitely. And it's like, it's a fun little intellectual exercise, because like just imagining those two teams going at it would just be...
Would the Box outmuscle the All Blacks, or would the All Blacks run around the box? It's hard to know.
It's tough to know. But two amazing sides. And a worthy winner then, 09 Springboks. Awesome team.
Greatest team ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear them now. No!
Well, if you're a Springbok fan or you're an All Black fan, do feel free to get into arguments in the comments below, because we love that.
Yes, we love it. We're casual observers. We're Switzerland.
Exactly.
Just go forth, do what you need to do. But no, that was awesome, guys. Really,
a lot of fun,
appreciate it, guys. And if you guys like Overlap Rugby, please subscribe to Overlap Rugby. They are literally the best rugby YouTube channel on YouTube.
Give us some.
We're going to say ditto for NGJ.
Thank you.
Much love.
Say more.
You want to see some of the most polished rugby analysis, if not the most polished rugby analysis on YouTube? That's the channel you go.
Thank you. But literally, Overlap Rugby. I'm so glad we could do this. It's been awesome fun. And thank you guys very much for watching. And see you later.
Yeah. Peace and love.
Peace and love. See you guys. Yes, so that was it. That was our whole collaboration this week with NGJ Rugby. It was a lot of fun doing it. Can't recommend his channel enough, as we've said. The links are in the description, NGJ Rugby. If you're a fan of our show, you'll definitely love his stuff. Really knowledgeable guy and a great guy as well, and it was a lot of fun doing it. Hopefully not the last time, but hope you enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe to both channels if you can, and comment down below as well, because we do enjoy the chat and the conversation.